these questions aren't hard. So. Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 10, Through the Eyes of the Unknown. And today I'm sitting here with a really special guest. The man, the myth, the legend. This is my dad. This is Tom Walker. He has kind of shown myself and my brothers the ways of music. We've gone out to see him play and play guitar and sing many, many times. And today I'm going to give you a background on him, or I should say he's going to give you a background. So Dad, my first question is obviously, I just said you play an instrument. Tell me what you play, what you like. You're obviously you're a Schecter man. Go ahead and tell us about that.
Well, the Schecter guitar I got from my wonderful son Travis, and it's probably, I don't want to plug any instruments or anything, but it's probably the best guitar I've played and the best sounding guitar I have, or I've ever had actually. My influence on music, I would have to say was my dad, because even though he didn't play an instrument or didn't sing, even though he tried, he always had music going. I mean, in the car, in the house, just, he always had music going. So
Now speaking of that, what exactly, if you can remember, what kind of music were you brought up on?
Oh man, believe it or not, I know I'm an older guy, but geez, I was brought up on real old country music. Real old. I'm talking, Hank Williams Sr., Fair and Young stuff, Patsy Cline stuff.
Back when country was country, not this pop shit you see nowadays.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
So, now, what kind of amplifier do you prefer to use while you're playing?
Well, in the past I've used custom, and I've used Laney, and I used a friend's Marshall, and I really prefer the Marshall.
Marshall kind of beats out everybody.
Yeah, I like the way it sounds, even if you don't have any pedals hooked up to it. It sounds great, I think.
The clean to distorted kind of thing, yeah. Yep. Now, way back then, when was the first time you picked up a guitar and actually started to say, this is what I want to play?
I think I was 17. My brother over me, your Uncle Raymond, he won a contest from Knapp's School of Music all those years ago.
Oh.
And he won a guitar and 2 free lessons. Well, he kind of took the 2 lessons, maybe played the guitar a few times at home, and then it sat in the corner collecting dust.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked it up out of the corner one day, dusted it off, started monkeying around, and I was hooked. I was hooked, and I always wanted to learn how Creedence played their music, and I just took it from there. I self-taught.
Well, that actually answers one of my later questions. Have you ever taken any lessons?
No, I have not.
Since you're self-taught, how did you go about learning to play?
Actually, I learned a lot just by watching guys on TV and trying to mimic their sound.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got hooked up with a couple of cousins that played, and they showed me kind of broken up stuff, but it got me on a different kind of track.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just pretty much picked up, hey, that sounds like something I already know, and I just kind of evolved that way.
Yeah. Now keep in mind, guys, I know some of this, but not all of this, so some of this is going to be news to me. Your biggest influence in music when you were growing up, and later on today, your biggest influence now?
Well, obviously, since I mentioned Creedence, I used to listen to it all the time, so that was what I drew my inspiration from. And then Aerosmith come along in a big way, and I thought, wow, man, listen to these guys, this is cool. So I liked Aerosmith for a long time, and then geez, I hope he never. I hope Steven Tyler never sees this, but I got bored with it.
Yeah.
And my son Brad, your brother, was playing Breaking Benjamin, and I'm listening to it, and I'm going, man, I really like that. So, you know, and he bought me a few CDs, and every one that he bought me, I just love. So Breaking Ben is now, you can see the shirt.
That's the shirt.
Yeah, is the favorite.
The favorite. I think that goes for everybody else out there. If you're into hard rock music, Breaking Benjamin has got to be in that top 5.
Yep.
So, now obviously that kind of answered my next question. What are you listening to today besides Breaking Benjamin?
I like Chevelle a lot. I like Shinedown a lot. And there's other bands out there like 3 Days Grace and System of a Down is really cool.
They're coming back with a new album too.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
yep.
I heard that. And they're really cool too. So.
Now, when you were back out on the band scene, and we're gonna get into that now, what was the music scene like back when you were in your prime, playing out in various bands? Dad's been in more bands than I have fingers, so go ahead and tell us a little bit about the music scene when you were playing out in your bands on a regular basis.
Well, when I was playing out, things were ripping. I mean, we were playing out every Friday, Saturday. We were doing weddings, and the music that people wanted to hear, believe it or not, was the what we call classic rock that was playing on the radio at the time. It was the Leonard Skinners, it was the Hall & Oates, things like that. Tommy Two Tones was big, things like that. So, yeah, back in the late 70s, all the way through the 80s, even mid-90s, that's what it was. That's, you know, I could play out as much as I wanted, you know, and make money doing it, have fun doing it, you know, meet new people, new musicians.
Now, booking gigs, would you say that was easier then than what it is now?
No. Back then you had to do a lot of footwork. You actually had to maybe go into the club or to the bar and strike a deal with the person, you know, talk to them one-on-one.
Yeah.
And it was a lot harder back then. Today, you know, you get online and Facebook is a good thing. And I think it's a lot easier to book a job. And then when you play the job, if you're liked, you're going to get called back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Back then, you know, you had to do a lot of footwork. I did a lot of footwork.
Like some of the bands today. Dad, like I said to you guys, Dad is where I draw a lot of my inspiration from. Dad also used to run sound for probably 90% of your bands, right?
Yes.
And he did it all with a little 50-watt mixer head and 2 custom cabinets. And for years. I mean, there wasn't really any miking of any instruments, maybe a guitar here and there, but drums and stuff, none of that stuff was mic'd. You kind of just went out and did your own thing. So from a sound man's point of view, did you actually like running sound and playing too? Or did you find one or the other kind of a pain in the ass?
I hated running sound myself because I thought I knew what I wanted to hear. But maybe what I wanted to hear wasn't exactly projecting to the audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every time I'd get finished with the first set, I would ask people, well, how's it sound? Don't hold anything back. Let me know. Is there too much bass, too much treble? Does it sound like the guy's coming out of a box?
Yeah.
You know, let me know exactly what it sounds like. And then I could go make some adjustments and go from there.
Yeah.
But I hated running sound and playing.
Yeah, being a sound man and playing, much like Matt Putnam, who I'm eventually going to get to in an interview. So Matt, I know you're watching, I'm going to get to you. Matt also runs sound and he does vocals for a couple bands.
Matt's good. Yeah.
So, Now, when you went out on stage to perform, depending on the size of the crowd, did you ever get nervous?
Always. Always got butterflies before I went on stage. But the moment I hit that stage, it was like poof, they all disappeared.
The adrenaline rush, I think, has a lot to do.
Yeah, and I think what helped me out was the last probably 5 bands I was in. I was the up front guy. I didn't have to worry about playing and singing. I just sang, and it brought the life out of me. It made me better, a better performer.
So now, speaking of past bands, why don't you give us a little bit of info on the past bands, like how long maybe you were together, names, what kind of music you guys covered, because most of the bands were covers, right? Yeah.
All the bands that I've been in have been cover bands, and the last 4 or 5 bands that I've been in, I have been the upfront singer, and typically most local bands don't last more than, I'm going to say 4 years, and that's a stretch. Yeah, I could give you a few names, like there was Bounty Hunter, there was Sanity Break, both very good bands, although I gotta say I like Bounty Hunter a lot better.
Yeah, Bounty Hunter was probably the coolest. My cousin Tommy actually drew up a logo. That was pretty cool. I remember that.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you got those flyers someplace around here.
Oh yeah, I still got them. Yep, I still got them. And,
so, yeah.
Yeah, Tom actually played in that band with us a couple times.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, when the bass player was couldn't make it.
Oh, okay.
So,
I didn't know that.
That was pretty cool.
So, and you were also in a band called the High Rollers, right?
High Rollers was my band. That was an 80s band. We were together for, it was a long time. It was like 5 years. That we also had a girl drummer, by the way, and she was great. Her name was Paula Moore. She was from Canton, PA. And of course, I had 2 of your uncles in it, Carlton and Clinton. And we made lots of bookings, made lots of money. You know, the money was just rolling in.
Now, speaking of money, how much would you guys make on an average night?
Usually it was anywhere, even back in the day when I first started out, we were making $60 a piece. Like even if we had 7 guys, we made $60 a piece.
Yeah. And
I haven't played in 5 years, and even then, we took some jobs that were $80 a piece. You know, but most jobs were $100 a piece.
Hear that, bar owners? If you're watching, at least $100 a guy. So quit shorting us with this $250, $300 shit.
Yeah. Most of the time it was $100 a piece.
There's not very many fair venue owners. You know, for a first time, I can kind of understand. You know, it's like, okay, here's your trial. But if you're good and you want to have them back, that's your decision to have them back and book them again. Pay them what they deserve.
Yeah. See, a lot of people don't understand that. A band just doesn't meet once a week and discuss what they're going to do, maybe play a song or 2, and then play out. There's a lot of work that goes into it. I mean, it's not just the practice. I mean, you got to have everything right. You got to buy your equipment. You got to, my God, if you break a string, you know, it's going to cost you pretty close to $8 just for a set of strings, you know. And then if you have equipment failure, you got to take care of that. It's just, you know, people don't realize it takes a lot of work.
Yep.
When you do play out, of course, you got the setup. You got the tune up. And at the end of the night, you got to tear down, you know. And when you entertain all night, it's like an athlete hitting the field, playing a game, and coming off the field. You're tired.
Yeah.
You know, you're tired. You have worked for that $100. So yeah, pay the guys what they're worth.
Listen, experience here.
Yeah.
You ain't fooling anybody. Now, what do you think of today's music versus the music in your time?
I love it. I love it. for me, and I'm saying for me, I don't like to hear young girls sing. They all sound the same, and they all put across the same message, and I don't like it.
We're talking about the Selena Gomez, Hilary Duff, Miley Cyrus kind of shit.
Yeah, I don't like it. And I never have. But for today's music, like John, what's his name? I can't even think of his name now.
The classic rocker? Is that
No,
what
I'm talking about new guy. Yeah, John. He's great. He's got such a good voice.
There's 1,000,001 singers out there.
Yeah. But
so, you had said that the music scene back in your time was obviously more poppin' than today. Why do you figure it was more busier for music then than it is now?
Well, I wouldn't say poppin', I did say rippin'.
Yeah.
If you live in the cities or the larger towns, the kids like the pop music. And even, even people in their 30s, close to 40s, they like the pop music. And it's not all bad. Some of it's pretty good. And some of the singers are excellent. But when I was playing out, the songs that were on the radio, like I had mentioned, was the Hollow Notes. That was our pop music.
Yeah.
Hollow Notes,
Yeah. And what was the metal? The metal was like Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin?
When I was playing out, it was still an up-and-coming Metallica, and Black Sabbath was always strong. Ozzy, this guy will never die.
Even with all the drugs.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of the metal world, to you, in your opinion, how do you feel metal has changed from your time to the metal world today? It's definitely changed. Heavy metal has definitely changed because back in the 60s and 70s, the heavy metal wasn't the deep vocals or the screaming vocals, highs and lows and stuff like that. Besides that, how do you feel it's changed from then to now?
Well, now it's more aggressive. Our heavy metal, what we called heavy metal, was like Ozzy.
Yeah.
And today's heavy metal is so much more driving. It gets you can feel the drums. The guitar is there. It's not just wow, that's cool. It's wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Heart pumping.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, you go out and listen to a band like Breaking Ben, you can't help but get into the music, or even if you go heavier like Slipknot or any of them, it's so much better. Yeah, it's just so much better.
Now, when it comes to putting on a show, this is actually off schedule here, not on my list of questions. Because I constantly think of questions as I talk to you, kind of feed off that. But showmanship. What is the kind of showmanship? What did you guys do when you were playing out in bands that was different from everybody else's?
I don't know if it was so much different, because when you play out, the biggest thing that you can do is play to and with the audience. Don't be afraid to hand them a mic and help me sing, or don't be afraid to walk out in the crowd and
interact.
Yeah, dance. You got a lady dancing by herself, dance with her while you're singing or something like that. You know, if you can feed to the audience will feed back to you. And I've learned that. you just want to stand up there in front of a microphone and sing, it just doesn't happen.
There's no showmanship.
Yeah,
people tend to get a little bored without watching something.
Yep.
So now let me ask you, why do you play music? Why did you used to play? Why do you play music?
It makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. I love the sound of guitar. I love the sound of crashing drums. It just makes me feel good. It gives me a little purpose about who I am, because I've always loved music. From the first time I heard my dad try to sing, you know, to now, to today. I mean, I've got calluses on my fingers now because I've been playing. I've been playing the acoustic a lot, and it takes a lot more to depress the strings. But yeah.
Those acoustic. I think those acoustic strings they're a little thicker than electric strings, aren't they?
Yeah, they can be. And you tend to put thicker ones on the acoustics because you want a little more bass tone out of them. I do anyway.
Now, this just popped in my head. If you could pick one song that you could relate to, what would that song be? On the spot.
There's a million songs. And going back to Aerosmith, probably Living on the Edge.
Yeah. Because
it seems like we're always living on the edge, you know? So, yeah. But, yep.
All right. My last question for you, Dad. Now, everybody, I've said this before, our local music community is very respectful and supportive of one another. This is one of my newer questions. I've only asked 2 or 3 other guys. What are some words of encouragement you have for the bands and musicians of today?
I would say just about what you said, support each other. Look, everybody makes mistakes when you're playing out. It's human error. People are going to do it. And the worst thing you can do is do a lot of bad criticizing. And if you absolutely do not like a local band, at the end of the night, go up, shake their hand, and tell them good job. Because I'll tell you what, it does take a lot of work. And who knows, they might be your best friend. They might be the one that comes along and help you, achieve your goals. So, always support each other, always.
Totally.
Yep.
You heard it here. Again, this is my dad, Tom Walker. Dad, I gotta ask you too, have you ever written any music?
Well, believe it or not, I'm working on a song right now for my new granddaughter.
Oh.
And yes, I have. I have written 5 songs. I played 2 of them out in public because they seem to go over good, one, and they tell, at the time when you write a song, most people write about life experiences. So when I wrote these 2 songs that I did play out, it was from a life experience. And when I did play them out, I think a lot of people related to it, so they went over well. And the biggest one was called Memories of a Girl. And a lot of guys can relate to it, so.
Absolutely. We all have that long lost love, or that love that we just can't have.
Yep, absolutely.
So, but through the eyes of the unknown, you guys, please like it, subscribe, if I can spit that out right. Share it around, let people know if you're a musician, you want to come in for an interview. I can come to you. I'd rather have you come to my house because I have the proper lighting and stuff there. But through the eyes of the unknown, I believe this is episode 10. This is my dad, Tom Walker. Thanks for watching, guys. Dad, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Travis.